Hey, I really don't like doing the Morgellons madness videos, but I gotta do them as things arise, as I notice things, or otherwise I won't get back to it. And I don't think I even touched on this yet, but this weirdness right here that seems to run down into my armpits, some red line going around there. But really, it's what I want to point out is this right here. This is associated with it big time. Whatever this is, it's like a, you know, I mean, it's where the muscle is, but it's as if there's something else on the muscle, in the muscle, slithering around it, and it's like the same thing as the I'm probably super duper close. I'm like, hey, um, like the jowly neck area, of which as I torch the stuff off, the actual jowliness of my neck has gone with it, as if somehow I'm evaporating the fat underneath. I mean, that doesn't seem like it should be that way. But the jowly area on the leg is right here, of course. This right. If I've been in the water, oops, put that down. If I've been in the water for a long time and come out of the water, there'll be like a very noticeable like roll right here that seems to just wrap around there the same way that this does around here. Connection being proximity to the joint. Uh, there isn't an equivalent on my foot so much unless it would be this area right in here. It's all kind of, anywhere there's an area where, there's the muscle doesn't go across it, such as, the sides of your head. If you look on one of those charts, with that shows the musculature of a person, there's areas on the sides of their head, back of the neck, where there's just little areas where there's not muscle. That's where the tendon connects to the bone and cartilage is there and stuff. And they say the old fat will be there. Sure. That seems to be like where the liquidy part of it goes, seems to coalesce or something. And from that comes the, I guess it's mycelium that grows through your cells or something, and on out to the invisible strands. But there's other things besides that that are noticeable to notice it, like the throbbing wrist thing, which is it's doing it right now. That used to be this entire area, and this was all purple and raised. And these veins here that they just come and go. I could be doing nothing at all, and that starts throbbing like mad. My veins suddenly bulge out. Right, that's perfectly normal. Nothing going on there. Or check this. This right there. That these red marks, the lines, they'll disappear, and then they'll appear again. Throughout the day. uh, not as much on my right arm yet, but the left one for sure. See, that one's throbbing too. Whatever happens on one side happens on the other, so to a greater or lesser degree. But yeah, the red marks over the veins, like right over them, and it's some bullshit, right? It just comes and goes throughout the day. Okay, sure. That's a perfectly normal type of biological infection of some kind or some sort of disorder. Probably because I drank too much Pepsi Cola when I was a kid and that messed up my adenoids or something, right? I'm sure our medical has an answer for everything. There's a zillion different disorders, and we've got names and treatments for all of them separately, because every single thing that's wrong with the person is something different. Is that what I'm supposed to take away from my impression of what our medical tells us? I mean, I don't really know what they tell. They don't tell us anything. They don't tell us anything that's real. It's kind of ridiculous. Right now my mom is doing chemotherapy. It's like her second chemotherapy, I think she's done. And trying to talk to her about health is it's she just tunes you out. I mean, I don't know. She's doing some of the treatments that she's doing the H2O2 and the turkey tail mushrooms. That those are two things that I kind of discovered through YouTube. Thanks YouTube, because there's real people on YouTube still, at least some. I'm sure there can't all be NPCs, but I would bet you that I wouldn't doubt if half the channels on YouTube were AI. Like really, why not? Why wouldn't AI make its presence, as millions of people? Why wouldn't it? It would help support the narrative that there's, billions of people in the world. There's not billions of people in the world, I'm sorry. We've all done the things where it would take, 150 years or something to count to a billion, and, or whatever. Uh, that's how big a billion is, and this, okay, so no. One time I got out the map and I got a population density of the city area, and I attributed that highest population density area of the city to the entire city. So every city was overestimated. And then they did that with all the major cities, and I got numbers that were, not the whole world, but I think they did just the United States. It was a long time ago. And I applied the highest, density, though, to the entire city area, which is not in that high of density. And the numbers I got were way off the mark low, even at the highest density numbers for the city areas. So unless there is just a gajillion people living in the rural areas nowadays, which there used to be a lot of people in the rural areas, it's getting more and more reeled into the city now, though. You know, there's nothing going on out in there for work, I guess, unless you're a logger or some shit like that. Yeah, anyway, get off track there. Um, what else? There was one other thing here. What was it? I mean, I've got this strangeness right here. Is that an ant? Is that some sort of tracking device? It's been there a long, long time. There's another one I got on I forgot about on my right index finger. It's like this, right here. And it hurts if I squeeze it, but it's not really, it doesn't hurt otherwise. There's like a little something attached to the bone right there, like a little lump on there. Very odd, right? I don't think that's a Morgellons thing any more than I do this is, but maybe everything is Morgellons at this point, It really seems that way. There haven't been too many planes this evening. Oh, the thing on my head, I'm sure, is Morgellons related. This has been there a long time, too. And it's, it feels like I don't know what it feels like. It's rough on the surface like a scab, but it doesn't really bleed unless I don't hit it with the torch. If I go, years ago, it would bleed. It would get painful and it would just bleed and start dripping. But it wasn't the red blood like, normal blood. It was the translucent, orangish, dark orange kind of blood. It was slightly translucent. Just like whatever would leak out of my eyebrows, what would come off my ear when my skin was peeling off my ear. And, you know, I'm a lot healthier now than I was then, so I don't experience those things quite so much. But hey, I think an airplane's coming because old righty here just decided to start throbbing like mad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's pushing 115, 120 a minute. Yeah, I'm just sitting here, right? And just my wrists should just start throbbing. At least it's not the whole damn wrist area, halfway to my elbow like it used to be. And then a jetliner would fly over really slowly. And, I get to get looked at like I'm insane for saying that. I mean, how many thousand times in a row do you have to verify something before you can say that they're connected? If this happens 1,000 times in a row, every time, not missing one, and then another one comes along and the same thing happens again, can I say there's a connection there? I mean, obviously there's a connection there. There's really only a few things it could be. What could affect your physiology unknowingly to you from a distance without any visible or audible, you know, indication that there is something going on? What could do that? What can move through the walls? What can do all those things? There's only one thing that can do that, and that is waves, frequencies. Whether they're radio waves, microwaves, it doesn't matter. They can go through walls. They can affect your physiology from a distance. Tax dollars have been spent hard at work developing directed energy and probably non-directed energy weapons. I mean, the directed energy weapons is the do, right? But the freaking, they're not even. That's a directed energy weapon kind of implies that it's being used on a target specifically, like someone's out there pointing it at your house or whatever. They're just putting them on big towers throughout the whole city and just broad beaming everybody with the weapon system now. So is that a directed, or that's a non-directed like electrical weapon, energy weapon? It's just a broadband energy weapon. I was thinking. I mean, I thought this a while ago, but I noticed it the other day. There was an Xfinity truck, and uh, I was thinking like break down the word Xfinity. X is the end, or X marks the spot. That's where the treasure is, or the end, and then put X's over I's when someone's dead, right? There's the X. Fin is finish. It means the end, like in a movie when it says fin in other countries. So dead, end, and itty is like the state of being, whatever that was prior in the word. Like charity, or I guess, I mean, it's not a good example, but you know what I mean. ITY is the state of being of whatever was the descriptor. So Xfinity means the state of being at dead end, at the dead end. That's great, Xfinity. Wow, that's wonderful. Oh, that's what it was. It wasn't the truck. I mean, it was the truck that I thought of originally seeing it written, but it was the commercial the other day for 10G. Oh, the Xfinity 10G, it's the greatest. Get your Xfinity. Sign up today for be the first one to get your Xfinity 10G, because our download speeds aren't fast enough now, and I'm trying to stream 13 apps at the same time on my iPhone. I need more speed, right? What the fuck? Nobody, nobody wants it. Nobody needs it. Nobody wants it. Keeps on rolling out. Like, and what do people do? Oh, they rush off to order one. Get their new whatever. I was listening to Matt on Quantum Conscience here earlier, and he's talking about fuck your tech. Who wants this shit? Our tech, our tech is plenty good enough right now. We don't fucking need anything else. We don't need what we got at this level. To tell you the truth, it's making people's lives worse, and it's a cordless leash. That's what the phone is, a cordless leash. Well, now we live in a grid. We live in the cell grid. It's our digital prison. You couldn't even go into the wilderness, and if you were a good hunter and whatnot, and could build your shelter and not be noticed or hassled by the authorities or in any way, you still couldn't survive there. There's no game left. I there are a few exceptions to this. Way out in the deep woods and certain areas of rainforest and stuff, but just in general, the animal population around the Pacific Northwest is just nosediving. There are crows, coyotes, a few possums. I mean, everything's gone. Where'd it go? Oh, it's man-made climate change is killing the earth and destroying the ecosystem. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not the 10,000 jets a day flying over, dumping neurotoxic metals into the air. That's doing nothing at all. That's good for That's trying to help and solve the problem. It's us people driving our cars around and using hairspray that's destroying everything. Sure, it's not the military pouring freon out of freaking fire hoses onto jets to de-ice the wings in the north so that they can fly bombs in circles around the pole, right? It's not that that's putting a hole in the ozone layer. It's people. It's people and their industry and all the modern tech that we all depend on so much. Bullshit. It's the environment's being destroyed on purpose by our leaders and their minions. And it's when they say the people are doing it, they're actually somewhat correct because it is human type people that are doing the jobs that are causing it to happen.